Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Aeronautics, and I would like to welcome you back to the surface of Eta Crucis 7.1, the moon. Technically, the silver moon, because we have two, the other being the gold moon. We're not going to be flying anywhere this episode. The objective of this episode is basically going to be to build the vacuum resupply station. And the plan is that will get us a breathable airbase, and we should be able to take our spacesuit off outside a spacecraft for the first time once that is set up. And then over hopefully the next week or two, we'll begin producing liquid hydrogen that can be used to resupply the mothership. And then once the mothership is full, then we're going to the idea is going to be to fly up to the gold moon, Eta Crucis 7.2, and up there we will duplicate our vacuum station. And then once that's done, we're looking at potentially going to Eta Crucis 8, which is a big deal. So let's talk about how we're going to create that vacuum station. Okay, so let's discuss how we're going to be making this base and exactly how it works. So let's draw a circle representing the moon, Eta Crucis 7.1. And this circle is going to represent all of the raw materials that we get from the moon. We're going to take those raw materials, and the first thing we're going to need is a heater, because this stuff is coming out of the ground at 70 degrees north, which means the temperature is probably minus 100 Fahrenheit. So we're going to have to heat that water up to be able to do stuff with it. So we'll draw an arrow there to represent it. Once we heat the water, that gives us we can pump that into a tank, and we'll draw some Mickey Mouse ears to represent H2O because the the molecule is not going to fit in there. And we'll go ahead and draw an arrow to there. So at this point, then we're going to take the water and drive it into an electrolyzer. And we'll just draw a little lightning bolt here to kind of represent what's going on here. So the water goes into the electrolyzer, and from there, it will be split into one of two things. So it will go into two tanks. There's one, there's another, into H2 and O2. So I'll draw two small circles for H2 and two large circles here for O2. All right, so with the H2, the hydrogen, we're then going to pump it into the mothership, and I really don't have a better way of showing this as being the mothership. I mean, maybe we can add some little ant legs here. I'm really bad at improvised art. Yeah, so there's our mothership. This goes into filling the fuel tank, and once we remass the fuel tank, then we'll be able to skedaddle again and go to the next moon. Technically, we still have plenty of we've got plenty of rocket fuel as it stands now, but I really do want to prove that we can refuel before we need to, because if we don't have all the resources we need here, we might need to go somewhere else. Just a smart idea. Okay, and then one last thing with the O2. Let's see, do I have a trapezoid available to me? Looks like I do not have a trapezoid. That stinks. Well, let's use a triangle then. All right, so this triangle, let's see, what do we use? Let's use dark blue. This triangle represents the base, and we'll draw some spaceman in there. I don't know who it's going to be. Maybe it's going to be like Mortimer Green or something. And this is O2, right? So then all we got to do is just pump it into the base. And yay, now there's free floating oxygen that this guy can then inhale and fill up his lungs with, and we survive. So that's our base. There's one issue with this though, and that is we're using an electrolyzer, which needs electricity. So we're going to need a power source. Now, thankfully, unlike in the ocean, where things were really dodgy, we're going to have some time to set this thing up. And we don't have to string it all together. We can actually, into a float or a raft, we can just simply set it in the ground. So we'll get some solar panels. The solar panels will commute electricity into the electrolyzer there. And let's see. Eta Crucis 7.1 is a yellow-white star. It's an F star, so let's go ahead and draw our yellow-white sun. And this is probably not going to turn out very well because I'm using a white canvas. Here it is, trying to color it in as much as I can. And the sunshine from Eta Crucis 7, the F star, will shine onto our solar panels. Okay, let me just check and make sure everything is good here, and I think that's it. Okay, I forgot one thing. So we're electrolyzing gas, but there's an issue here, and that is actually this is our heater. So we actually need to also branch this off here and create another electricity line here. There we go, into the electrolyzer. And now there's something that I'm forgetting. So let's go ahead and erase these arrows here. And instead, what we're going to do is that. It's been a while. So this is actually a single unit called, well, it's two parts of the unit called the Machines Package 1. That's our electrolyzer, but we are forgetting that we're storing things in pressurized tanks, which means we need a compressor. And so that is the other part that we need there. And now our diagram is complete. So currently, I think we ended the episode here in the Runestone rover. But we're going to need to get some cargo, and that is deployed from the Space Viking, which is the mothership here. The next thing that I need to do too is figure out where we want to build this base. This is the eternal landing target that we have here because it's a safe area. From Space Engine, you might remember that this is a very flat area on the moon. This is a safe area to set things up. To land, but then we need to set things up. So we can do it over here. We just need to make sure that it's not in line with the Leif Erikson 2's engines. So my recommendation is that we build the base over here on the other side of the Runestone rover, which we're going to move around. And this is what we're going to use to shuttle the cargo around. All right, so let's do let's figure out how much the Runestone rover can hold, and then that will tell us how many cargoes we can do at a time. Oh, that is not the help menu that I desired. That's not working. Okay, so I figured it out. It's two cargo slots per run. Okay, and now what are we going to need to make the vision in our head a reality? We've got the moon, that's given, and we've got the sun, that's given. So now we need a solar panel package. Then we need a heater. And then we're going to need the Machines Package 1. And that's going to take care of the electrolyzer and the compressor. We're going to need a water tank. This is a little bit different than than the planet, because we have water. We just suck the water in on Eta Crucis 7. So we've got our water tank. We've got our machines package 1. Then we're going to need the hydrogen tank and the oxygen tank. And then from there, we need the base infrastructure. So that's just going to be being able to climb inside. It's basically a tent, a pressurized tent. Let's just make sure we've got everything. We've got the solar panel package, the heater, the water tank, machines package 1, hydrogen and oxygen tanks, and then let's see, it's just tubes from there into the spacecraft and into the base infrastructure, and that's the last thing. Okay, we're ready to build this thing. So we'll go ahead and get moving here. And I have already selected and dropped out 2 cargo pieces. I've done the solar panel and the tank heater. I have to figure out where the stuff gets stored. It's likely the back. Normally it's C to grapple cargo. There we go, cargo loaded, and looks like we got it. Oh, it's up on the roof. That's funny. All right, there it is, the tank heater and the solar station. Then we'll just get these back to where we want to set the base up. All right, that's good right there. We'll bring it to a stop, and it's usually Shift-C will offload. No cargo aboard, unable to release. Well, that's a lie. I can clearly see cargo on board right there. That's funky. So you can grapple, but you can't release it. What a mess. Okay, we got everything set up here. So we'll go ahead and move just a little bit and leave this area, give it some space to set up, and we'll get this base in operation. Okay, so we're controlling Jamil heard from SimCity 4, and he's going to set up our base. The first thing we want are the solar panels here. That's a really cool view right there. Very nice. Alright, where is the sun? I think it's way up there. Okay. Found it. Just need to make sure that we put the gold filter in. That's the V key. And it's right there. Okay. You to unpack.
Unpacking cargo.
There we go. Alright, so now we can make a little bit cleaner approach here. So let's see, we want to angle these into the sunlight. That's going to be right there. So we'll get the three units here. Actually, I think it's 5 units. Wow. There we go. The ocean's not going to move it around because there is no ocean. Therefore, I want to actually put some methodology into setting this up so it doesn't look terrible. And eventually, we will fix that on the ocean. The plan, like I said, is to put everything in those prisms so that everything resembles a giant cruise ship. Now, unfortunately, yeah, 7's below the horizon, so we can't see if there's any storms mucking up our base. We're going to have to check that out once we land back. That would really stink if it were. Basically mean we're starting over, although we do have this base now backing us up, which is handy. Okay. Alright, so there's our solar panels. That generates the power. And then from there, we need to go to the electrolyzer, right? Oh, wait, no, the heater. Where is that thing? There it is. Alright, so we'll move this to the end of the electrical cable that's down here. And again, press the U key.
Unpacking cargo.
Alright. And it's still a box. I mean, it's a heater. That's all it does. It just heats things up. So the idea is we collect regolith and then scoop it into the top of this box. This box heats it up, it melts, and then it moves into a pipe that will then take it into the machine's package 1, which consists of an electrolyzer and a compressor.
Unpacking cargo.
Oops. Yeah, this is a little bit funky. It's moving two objects at the same time, but let's see. That goes right into the... And as you could hear, we hooked it up successfully. And then we'll get our tanks here. One of these is the hydrogen tank, and we'll put this on the far side. This will be for the mothership and the Leif Erikson 2 to refuel if so desired. And this thing's big, so we're going to drag it all the way out here and
Unpacking cargo.
set that up. All right, where is the plumbing on this? Okay, it's on this side, so we got to rotate it that ways. I like this. The base is starting to take shape. And we'll plug this into... There we go. The next thing that we want is the high pressure oxygen tank, and this will feed the habitat. Again, it's big, so we'll just unpack it here.
Unpacking cargo.
Alright, and then we need to rotate this 180 degrees around. And then maneuver it into position to connect to the compressor. And then the last thing is the habitat control module. And this thing's really heavy because it's got machinery. That's one of the reasons why we picked the big guy to do this. And we'll drop that down there and press U, and that should build our habitat.
Unpacking cargo.
Fantastic. We'll just move it a little bit here so that it mates cleanly right there with the tank. And there we go, guys. This is the base. This is Silver Moon Base, I guess you could call it. So the electricity is generated here. It gets fed into, we have to physically collect regolith. The regolith will go into the heater, which will melt. The pipe sends water into the electrolyzer, where it will electrolyze into hydrogen and oxygen. That is sent via pipes to a compressor that compresses everything down. The liquid hydrogen goes into this tank. Then by way of an underground tube that goes all the way out to where the Leif Erikson, the Space Viking mothership is parked. And then the liquid oxygen will go into the habitat, but it also goes out that way to refill the oxygen as well in there. And it can also, we'll put another station for the Runestone rover and another one for the Leif Erikson 2. And so this should allow us to refill everything over the course of about a week is what it's going to take to get the mothership pumped up, as long as all is good. So let's demonstrate that real quick by collecting some regolith. Okay, so we've got an hour and a half of oxygen before we run out, but the oxygen we can refill once we get into the base. For the meantime, though, yes, there is a shadowed crater here where we have some ice located. So what we're going to do is stack all this ice together into a box, collect it into the box, and take the box over to the pulverizer. What's it called? Going to drop it into the heater unit. I guess it's more of a heater hopper. So it's just a matter of picking these up one by one, dropping them in the pile. Every time I think I've got the last one, another one seems to appear. I don't know if that's just me or what. But that's good. That's more water, right? More water equals more air equals more stuff, more fuel. And it's a good thing because that is a huge mothership, which is one of the reasons why we brought 14 people with us. All right, I think that's everything. So we'll get the box out here and zip everything up.
Packing cargo.
There we go. All right, so now we take the regolith that we've just collected around to the heater. And get out of the shadow before I freeze. Okay, right there. So we'll dump it into the heater, and you can't hear none of this because there's no air. Everything gets macerated and melted down. That'll drip to the bottom of the drip pan, kind of like what you have in the dehumidifier. It then gets pumped via a hose into this electrolyzer that will send a current of electricity through to split the water into hydrogen and oxygen. And it's really easy. I think it's the cathode, I think, is where the hydrogen collects, and the anode is where the oxygen collects. And then we just simply it's a force feed. As the pressure gets higher, it will force itself down to the compressor. The compressor will compress it's really two compressors, one for the liquid hydrogen, one for the liquid oxygen. The liquid hydrogen goes into this tank, and it can then be fed to the mothership or to the rover or to actually the rover. Yeah, the rover doesn't take hydrogen. The rover only takes oxygen. Or to the Leaf Erikson 2, and then the liquid oxygen goes into this tank, where there's a manifold that can be sent to the uh, the mothership, the rover, or the Leif Erikson 2, or our control module. So let's test this out and see if this is working. So when I'm outside in the open in a dangerous environment with no air, I can do Alt X and it will tell me what the atmospheric pressure is.
Analyzing. Warning. Low atmospheric pressure.
Okay, and as expected, there's no atmosphere on Eta Crucis 7.1. It's completely bare, like the Earth's moon. Heck, if we call the Earth's moon moon, we ought to start calling this silver moon. Is that? I might need to check. That might be copyrighted. if it's not, we can call it that. That would be nice because we'll call 7.2 gold moon because it obviously is gold. If not, I'm sure there's another great. We could call it silver sat for silver satellite. All right, and we'll go into our airlock here, and we'll sit here for just a couple seconds for this to pressurize, and now we can go all the way into our base here. And I thought there was some machinery here, but I guess not. We'll do a quick check again with Alt-X, and this time, hopefully, there's oxygen.
Analyzing. Atmospheric pressure nominal.
All right, we've got 1 Earth's atmosphere worth of oxygen. So now we can press Shift-X to take the suit off. And for the first time ever, we are not in a vehicle and able to take the suit off. So at this point, we're done. It's now a big waiting game. We got to wait for the mothership to refill. That's going to take, let's see how many tons needs to go into this thing. Oops, I selected the wrong craft. We want to select Space Viking. There we go. And systems. Yeah. Okay, so it's going to be about 850 metric tons of fuel, and that's hydrogen, which means we're going to need to collect 16 times that amount. So we're talking several thousand tons of metric tons. That's going to take a very long time. We also have the option for oxygen. That's not really necessary right now. But yeah, it's too bad that this thing can't land on the ocean. But yeah, it's just too big. It can't do re-entry. We're only limited to space. So that's what we're going to have to deal with. Ooh, we're studying the auroras of Eta Crucis 7. That's pretty cool. And then, of course, back here we have home. As noted, the pre-New Horizons Pluto image there. Turn that off for the meantime to conserve power. All right, so it's September 7th now. We'll come back hopefully around September 14th or so. But in the meantime, let's go back to Jamil Hurd here in the ocean base. And let's get our nice picture here. And yeah, for the meantime, about a week's time, we'll come back and see where we are. This is Dr. Aeronautics signing off. After this, we'll see if the ship is filled, and if so, we'll build this exact thing on the gold node. This has been Dr. Aeronautics, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.